We've seen our fair share of epic Nintendo bosses over the last 3 decades. No, we're not talking about the likes of Reggie or Iwata. May he rest in peace. In this video, we're looking at the most spectacular boss fights in famous franchises from Nintendo. And to keep things interesting, we only picked one boss per franchise. Now put on your red Mario cap and get ready for our top 10 epic Nintendo bosses. It might be hard to understand these days, but Star Fox was a graphical powerhouse back in 1993. This 3-dimensional flying game on the Super Nintendo blew our young minds back in the day. It also has an extremely epic final boss in the form of Andros. He really scared us at the time. There's just something very creepy about a giant floating head in space. We still love the way he tries to suck you into his mouth and spits polygons at you. The frame rate might be absolutely terrible, but it doesn't make this boss fight any less epic. The Shadow Queen from Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door is one of the most surprising and toughest bosses in the game. She is an ancient 1,000-year-old demon who once threw the world into the depths of terror. The Shadow Queen uses the body of Peach as a vessel and tries to defeat Mario and his team. This evil version of Peach makes for a great plot twist and delivers one hell of a fight. Instead of saving the princess from Bowser, you need to save her from herself. Now that's deep. We really enjoyed the first Splatoon, and it also had one of the most original bosses in recent years. DJ Octavio fights you in his flying DJ booth. He produces electronic music while he attacks you with his giant fists and rockets. It's an incredibly epic battle that goes through multiple stages. You have to use all the stuff you've learned over the course of playing the game. The whole ordeal can take more than 10 minutes, but you won't feel bored for a moment. This is modern Nintendo greatness at its finest. Gary might not be a traditional boss, but he has to make an appearance on the list. This nemesis from Pokémon Blue and Red keeps humiliating you throughout the game. He always talks about how much better he is at catching and battling Pokémon. When you finally have the opportunity to take him on, you can't wait to beat his smug face. Defeating him feels great. Not only are you the true Pokémon master, but his own uncle says that he's disappointed in him. Victory never tasted so sweet. It might come as a surprise to some gamers that we picked the Ruined Dragon over Bowser for this video. However, this enemy from Super Mario Odyssey is so much more menacing than Bowser could ever be. This guy shows up out of nowhere and he looks completely out of place in a Mario game. The mechanics of this fight are actually pretty simple, but the scale on which it takes place is just epic. This boss really made our jaw drop when we first encountered him. We loved every second of fighting this unconventional boss in Super Mario Odyssey. Talking about unconventional bosses, we have to mention Master Hand from the Super Smash Bros. Series. This final boss is nothing more than an evil glove. You might think it's easy to beat a hand, but nothing could be further from the truth. He has many different attacks and they do a lot of damage, even if they look a little ridiculous. It's assumed that Master Hand is the representation of the child who owns the trophies collected throughout the game. Now that's just another very original idea by the brilliant folks of Nintendo. The final boss in EarthBound comes as a complete surprise. He's incredibly scary and feels very out of place in this otherwise joyful game. Throughout the fight, your party is repeatedly told that they will perish. The boss himself becomes more terrifying as he assaults you with a swirl of strange pixels and noises. In the last stage of the fight, the only offense your characters have left is prayer. The game even breaks the fourth wall and asks you to pray too. When the fight is finally over, you feel just like the characters on screen. Immense relief that it's finally over. Mike Tyson's Punch-Out is a very entertaining boxing game on the original Nintendo Entertainment System. It was all fun and games until you reached the final boss, Mike Tyson. One fight against him and you immediately knew why his name was on the box of the game. He can knock you out in a single punch, making him the 8-bit version of your worst nightmare. This means you have to dodge all his attacks and hope one of them misses. Only then can you do some damage to this near-invincible boxer. The fight is completely unbalanced, but the insane level of difficulty makes it very epic. The Super Nintendo Classic Mini gave us the chance to relive some of our favorite childhood memories. It also made us remember just how awesome Crocomire from Super Metroid is. This huge boss is located in the fiery depths of Norfair. The fight is pretty original as he doesn't have a health bar and you need to push him back into the lava. However, it's what happens after you beat him that caught us by surprise. He makes one final attempt to kill you before he explodes into tiny pieces. Such an epic moment in one of the best games from the Super Nintendo era. We have to go with Ganondorf as our most epic Nintendo boss of all time. We especially like the final battle against him in The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. The fight itself is as simple as it gets. You have to dodge at the right moment and wait for opportunities to attack. The stripped-down gameplay works great. It feels like you are part of a great sword fight. The final blow is one of the most epic moments in the entire series. You jump up and thrust your sword into his skull. Whoever thought Nintendo would finish a Zelda game in such a brutal way? What is your favorite Nintendo boss of all time? Let us know in the comments and don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel.